Hey everybody, Guy from Drinking Gourd. Thanks for tuning in. Going over a video with Elon Musk. Well, it's not Elon Musk, it's about Elon Musk and his son that he says has been lost to the woke mind virus. The Young Turks did a little segment on it, and where his son slash daughter, his child, as bark back. So let's get into it.
Elon Musk's transgender daughter, Vivian Jenna Wilson, has hit back at her father after Musk stated that Wilson was dead and killed by the woke mind virus in a recent interview with Jordan Peterson. First, we'll give you the context of Musk's comments, and then we'll get to Wilson's response. Here's what Musk told Peterson. Take a look.
So my son Xavier is dead, killed by the woke mind virus. It happened to one of my older boys. I was essentially tricked into signing documents for one of my older boys, Xavier. This is before I had really any understanding of what was going on, and we had COVID going on, and so there was a lot of confusion. I was told, Xavier might commit suicide if he.
That was a lie right from the outset.
It wasn't explained to me that puberty blockers are actually just sterilization drugs. Anyway, and so I lost my son essentially. They call it dead naming for a reason.
Yeah,
all right. So the reason it's called dead naming is because your son is dead.
Musk also posted this on X. Xavier was born gay and slightly autistic, two attributes that contribute to gender dysphoria. I knew that from when he was about 4 years old, and he would pick out clothes for me to wear like a jacket and tell me it was fabulous, as well of his love of musicals and theater. But he was not a girl. And of course, he's dead naming his daughter. He's misgendering his daughter. But it just, before we get into the context here, what do you both make of Elon Musk going to Jordan Peterson to just trash his daughter? It just feels like a very odd thing for somebody in that high profile of a position to do. Mondell, what do you make of this?
First of all, this is disgusting.
Okay, before he even gets into it, why does he frame it like that to trash his daughter? He wasn't trashing his daughter. He was talking about the woke mind virus. He was talking about how it is destroying people. That doesn't make any sense. He didn't trash his daughter. He was talking about this mindset and how it's got people confused and how it confused him. They misrepresent what he said.
TV, right? Like this idea that someone is joking about or taking their life because of their identity and what they're dealing with is something that no one should do, let alone your parents should take part in this. I think Elon Musk needs to come off of whatever drugs he's dancing with right now. I don't see anything beneficial for his family or anybody for doing this interview. At this point, like I love the fact that now we get to associate how these people who swear that they care so much about family now being back because of this $45 million he promised to Trump. We get to just tie this to Trump too. Like I
See, and that's what it's really all about. They can't stand that Elon Musk has a mind of his own, that he has a platform that he can speak out and say what he wants. They hate that. They can't stand the fact that he has free speech and he's exercising it. He he doesn't have to agree or go along with the narrative. He doesn't have to go along with, even if his son says, yeah, I feel like a girl. He already said, he was slightly autistic, and these things contribute to a mental disorder called body dysmorphia. it it's a real thing, because it's not a normal thing for a person not to feel right in the body that they're in. That's a disconnect of mind and body. So for us to try and treat it and act as if it's perfectly normal and fine and go along with it is wrong. Someone gave the parallel. We don't tell anorexics, oh no, go on a diet. You don't have to eat. You look fat. Okay? We don't tell them that. We can see the obvious. An anorexic person, skin and bones. And we're gonna tell them, oh, no, what you need is to run a couple extra miles and just drink water for the day. It doesn't make any sense now, does it?
I'm here for all of that, knowing that it is not a laughing matter, because there's a real person that's being talked about and called dead from some kind of virus that is not a virus, and it is absolutely ridiculous for Elon Musk to be supposedly the smartest man on earth and saying dumb stuff like,
Wait, he said his son is dead. Well, isn't his son dead? Isn't what you say, isn't what the left say dead naming? You made up the term dead naming. So if he's dead, he wants to be referred to as she. So what happened to the he now? You can't refer to the he as dead? It's the perpetual need to be offended.
puberty blockers are sterilization. And then I can't stand his voice. And when he's opening his mouth, it reminds me of how disgusting billionaires are.
See, it has nothing to do with what he said, the substance. No, it's all about how the feels. Oh, these, and I say it loosely. These men that are driven by their feelings and not paying attention to facts. Oh, that drives me absolutely nuts.
Yeah, so I have a few points to make about this. In regard to engaging in this interview and trashing his daughter, I'm loyal almost to a fault, and I'm especially loyal when it comes to family. Everyone has family issues. Airing it publicly, I find so disgusting. And something as personal as this, something as fraught as it's treated in conservative media, I would not have done this. And I can't believe he doesn't see what a bad idea that was.
I can't believe you can't see how hypocritical you're being. I mean, you have Pride Month. You have Pride everything. Everything is about showing the world and showing off and being proud of who you are and showing it to the world. And so he wants to talk about what has happened in his life, and now he should keep it in the closet. He shouldn't have said anything publicly about how he feels. Now, if Elon Musk went along with the woke mind virus, then everybody would have been applauding him, wouldn't they? They would be like, hey, yeah, he's great. He's awesome. But because it doesn't go along with what you're saying, oh no, he should have kept his mouth shut. This should have remained private and family. And it kills me. You guys keep talking about family. You know, the left and the Marxist left are trying to destroy the nuclear family. They've been doing it for years. But now you want to talk about, oh, family?
And how disrespectful it is to his own child, right? Like, look, I try to meet people with a little bit of grace, even when I vehemently disagree with them. And so for some people, it's hard for them to accept the identity of their children, right? If they don't agree with the identity, if they don't understand it, if they're ignorant about it. But how about you deal with that privately rather than trashing your own child publicly on Jordan Peterson's podcast?
Again, he didn't trash his child. He didn't say anything bad about his child. What part of that interview did he say anything bad about him? He said Xavier. Xavier, who apparently the child doesn't want to be called Xavier anymore. So why are these people so upset that he said Xavier is dead? Mind you, that's kind of personal to me. My oldest boy is his name is Xavier, okay, and I just he didn't say that his daughter was dead. He didn't say he didn't trash anything about who his son has become or wants to become, or I can't bring myself to say daughter. Okay? I can't bring it because it's not true. It's window dressing. Okay? They killed his son. The woke mind virus killed his son.
Okay, so putting that aside, the other thing that I'll say is he seems to be under the impression that his daughter was tricked, that his daughter was somehow indoctrinated, that his daughter doesn't know what she's doing, and that there was like some sort of illness that was injected into her. And as a result, she sees herself in the wrong way. And
he didn't say anything of the sort. See, that's the thing that really drives me mad, is how these people will twist what he said. He didn't say anything about that. Let's go. Wait. What is? He didn't say anything about whether or not. Hold on.
Look, I try to meet people with a little bit of grace, even when I vehemently disagree with them. And so for some people, it's hard for them to accept the identity of their children, right? If they don't agree with the identity, if they don't understand it, if they're ignorant about it.
Yeah, you don't have to be ignorant in order to accept or not accept something. I can be very well versed in something and still not accept it. That doesn't make me ignorant. It doesn't make me intolerant. It just makes me disagree. If he didn't want to go along with it, and he didn't say anything about his son being tricked, he said he was tricked. He didn't understand it. He was misled because he was making the decisions for his child, for his son. That you people have to stop thinking that children can make these kind of decisions. He's talking about how this is a life-altering, permanent decision. Sterilization. You can't ever have kids again. Ever. And you guys want to act like a child is okay to make this decision. It's not about what decision the child made. It's the decision that the parents make.
But how about you deal with that privately rather than trashing your own child publicly on Jordan Peterson's podcast? Okay, so putting that aside, the other thing that I'll say is he seems to be under the impression that his daughter was tricked, that his daughter was somehow indoctrinated, that his daughter doesn't know what she's doing, and that there was like some sort of illness that was injected into her. And as a result, she sees herself in the wrong way. And again, how about you take the time to actually sit down and get to know your daughter, understand who she is, what motivates her, what her dreams are made of. Like, don't work this out with Jordan Peterson on his podcast. And I feel awful that she's going through this because it's so high profile and her identity is a very personal matter and she doesn't deserve this, at all. The other thing that I'll say,
just because you keep saying her, she, it doesn't change anything. It's not a her. He's not a she.
is okay. Puberty blockers are not sterilization pills. there are sometimes side effects to them. And I think that it would be wrong to treat puberty blockers as if they're totally safe, totally reversible. There are potentially side effects, and it's important for people to know about that. And if this issue arises within your family, make sure you're knowledgeable about it, and you know your research, you're talking to doctors, and you're getting good advice.
Puberty blockers are not reversible. Get that through your heads, people. They are not reversible. They're permanent. Okay? You remove organs, you have mastectomies and you remove breasts, they don't grow back. Maybe you can have surgery again to try and put some fake ones in, but you're not putting real ones in. You're not putting in the ones that you were born within. If you decide to go back, and detransitioning is a real thing. So to say, oh no, it's not that bad. You're being delusional. You have to take it with the seriousness that it is. It is permanently damaging a child before they can really understand and know what they want. What you want at 15 years old is not what you want at 25 or 35 years old. And if you're a male or a female and they stunt your puberty, you don't have the choice anymore at 25 or 35. You've done it at 15. And you probably really pissed at the adults that allowed you to do that.
But to just flat out refer to it as a sterilization medication is also completely false. There are side effects, but the point of it isn't to sterilize people.
I mean, all drugs, of course, have side effects, and I think I think if I'm hearing you right, it's just he is misconstruing that transition process and making it seem reckless. And I think from what we gather, what we can tell, and we'll get into the response, it seems like proper precautions, talking to doctors, all the steps were followed there. So you also pointed out he could have had a conversation with his daughter. And we're learning more about where Elon Musk was during this process, because Vivian, his daughter, sat down with NBC News for an exclusive after Elon Musk made these comments. And she said of him, Elon was cold, he was quick to anger, he is uncaring and narcissistic. Wilson stated that growing up, Musk was rarely present in her life, but when he was around, he would often berate her. She said, I was in 4th grade. We went on this road trip that I didn't know was actually just an advertisement for one of his cars. I don't remember which one. And he was constantly yelling at me viciously because my voice was too high. It was cruel. He doesn't know what I was like as a child because he quite simply wasn't there. And in the little time that he was, I was relentlessly harassed for my femininity and queerness. Wilson also disputed her father's claim that he was somehow duped into her medical treatments, saying he was not by any means tricked. He knew the full side effects.
Oh, wow. That's a lie. I mean, I from personal experience, my stepson, all right, he had a confusing time, and they were recommending for him to take puberty blockers. And I was vehemently against it because he was still too young to make that kind of a decision. He was in his teens, but he was still way too young. Well, he's a full-fledged man, okay? And he is happy in being a man, and he recognizes that it was a phase he was going through. And I know I made the right decision. I know that it was right to let him grow into whoever he was going to be. And I didn't fall for, oh no, it's reversible. No, it's not. It's not reversible. And they did do the same thing and tried to trick me into believing everything was fine. We've been doing this for years. This is not steadfast science. This is still experimental stuff. So to turn your child over to a medical procedures or any of that sort, you really don't know, and neither do the doctors. As far as Elon, how he treated his son, I'm not going to say anything to that. I can understand, as a man, you want your sons to grow up to be men. Okay, but you do have to accept that there are some effeminate men and that your son can be effeminate, but doesn't mean that he's a girl. You may have to treat him differently in teaching him to be a man, but he's not a girl. You don't jump, you don't make that leap. That's an impossible, insane leap.
It just like what got me earlier in his comments was just, oh well, when before Vivian transitioned, then going by he didn't like or was like into theater and musicals. It's like, so am I. Like, who cares? It's just like a really rigid gender binary that for somebody who professes to be this brilliant mind, that he can't even comprehend that just shows ultimately to what you were saying, Mondale, just what a stupid person he actually is.
And I mean, like,
I love the way it's always a personal attack. It's never on the substance or anything. He just turns it into something personal.
it goes back to the idea that we need to stop looking at billionaires as geniuses and start looking at them as thieves and policy failures, right? Elon Musk did not create Tesla. There are two guys who did, got forced out by Elon Musk and his money. Elon Musk didn't create anything that we're using that's beneficial. Like, he's a thief. And the science also for his space program is science that came from the federal government taxpayer dollars that gets loaned to billionaires to make a lot of money. Like so much of the technology we use, i.e. cell phones and et cetera. Here's the disgusting part. The fact that your daughter, your child, has to do a sit-down interview with NBC to combat what you're saying to them should make you feel like a dirty human. You have
it's, what kills me is how people who become billionaires, these people who haven't done a fraction of what he hasn't produced, he hasn't employed, he hasn't done a fraction of what Elon Musk has, but he has the ability to speak on his intelligence. And he acts like all that he's done has just been kind of handed to him. That he didn't do the hard work, he didn't put in all the hours. Okay, the same thing that comes with his child being upset with him not being there. There's price that you pay. Unfortunately, some people can't juggle the whole thing. But he also built something great, something huge, and that's why you can't stand him. Because he actually built something and it wasn't a handout.
Failed epically as a father if your daughter is combating what you think about them on national TV. I can't say this enough in that, I find, there are some effects, and I think Anna led to this, about puberty blockers, but it's not sterilization. And for him to try to blame it on COVID is disgusting. The idea that we had a lot going on, no ass. We had very little going on during COVID because we were locked in the house. So you should have spent more time figuring it out. That excuse on itself is dumb. And I think these people are just speaking to hear themselves speak, and knowing that he won't be challenged in his interview is the space and why he chose this podcast, because he couldn't even do an interview with his own employee at the time and get challenged a little talking about Don Lemon and without him being uncomfortable completely. And it shows that there's no genius in Elon Musk. There's a coldness that his child had to point out to the world that we already knew existed.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. This is amazing how people can try and twist things to their advantage. And what's amazing too, I just was hearing about the champion of the left now, Kamala Harris, and how her staff turnover is like 92%. People can't stand working with the woman, but you ain't gonna hear that in the in the media, are you? I'm sure Elon Musk is not, you know, roses and sunshine all day long. Okay, even as a parent, but also you have to understand that, you know, what a child sees from their side can look very different from the adult side. Okay, being told, hey, don't do that, can seem cruel as a child, because of course to a child everything is cruel. If they don't get what they want, oh, it's the end of the world. Look at how these adults are acting too. But to them, that's the end of the world. But when they grow up, there are plenty of things that I look at. I even say to my child, and remember, my parents said that to me. And I thought, oh my gosh, now I understand it from this side. These people have grown up and they still don't understand it from the adult side.
You know, the response of his daughter makes it clear to me how ridiculous his allegation about COVID was, right? Because he's just like, oh, I didn't even know what was going on. There was chaos. I signed this paper allowing for the transition to happen, but I didn't know what I was signing because of COVID. No, you weren't even in your daughter's life. You didn't even take the time to get to know your own daughter. And now you're on someone else's show in a very public way, trashing your own offspring.
Oh, Anna, you really are getting on my nerves because he wasn't trashing. Go back and listen and pay attention. Okay, and stop trying to change things and change what he said. He did not trash his child. He did not trash his child. He talked about the woke mind virus that is obviously eating your brain completely. Oh, you know, she's been changing, you know, political stances, but her liberal cultural stances are still woke, mindless nonsense.
Oh. How is that helping the situation? Take the time to get to know your own child.
Oh, yeah. And obviously he was involved. He signed the papers. He was the one that signed the papers that allowed it to happen. So he was involved. He didn't just like show up one day and be like, here, sign this. Oh, okay. And then walked out and then say, oh, wait a minute, what did I sign? Elon Musk was told certain things. He wasn't an expert in it, so he didn't know. He took what they said at face value. Same way we took a lot of what they said about the of C-19. All right. And we took it for truth, right? We locked ourselves in our house. We wore masks. We got shots. We did everything they said, believing what they said. And it was all BS. He drew an exactly great correlation to COVID because it was all a lie. And look at what it did to us as a society, our children, their education, all the things that it did because we believed the science. Well, now he's regretting, just like we regretted listening to these people. You need to get it together.
Anyway, that's all I'm saying.
Also, it should be noted, this isn't even the first time he's attacked her.
Yep.
And the excuse changes every time. I remember he was blaming, I think, the Los Angeles public school system or public schools in California previously in the last wave of attacks against his daughter. Just leave. You clearly don't want to be present and supportive of your child. At least leave her alone. Like going on some other lunatic's podcast to trash your kid is so unbelievably weird. Like, what a strange person. Elon Musk.
Oh, wow. Okay, there goes that word again that the media has been running off with, weird. Everything is weird to them, which is amazing because they say what's weird is wanting a nuclear family, a mother, a father, a child, okay, staying together, teaching them values, teaching them right and wrong, teaching them about God, teaching them about respect, about the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, about the founding of our country. This is all weird to them. But telling a child, oh, yeah, you can switch and you are the opposite gender, even though down to your chromosomes, the science says you're not. I feel guilty about, lying to my kids about Santa Claus. How insane would it be, or how would I feel if I lied to them about something that's going to alter their life forever? But you guys don't seem to see that. Oh, well, that's my 2 cents. You guys tell me what you think in the comments, how you feel about it. All right. Whether you believe, let's have a discussion about it. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, like, share, do all the good stuff. I'm going to be back, with the family and with the wife. But I had to cover this by myself. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.